Welcome to Forced Adversity. Today we're going to take a look at a pretty serious issue. I feel like I should offer a content warning for what we're about to discuss.
Something special he will never forget.
What about someone special?
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
We're looking for the legendary Kevin Bacon.
I just said that, Drax.
Your voice is small and mousy. I think maybe he didn't hear you. Where are we? Where's the rest of the crew?
I don't know.
Where the hell is everyone?
Maybe they couldn't get to us.
They're so proud of themselves. So fat and satisfied.
This Organized Chaos podcast is brought to you by listeners like you. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome back to another Organized Chaos podcast. My name is Bobby Quarters, and with me always is Chaos. How are you, my guy?
Chaos? Who's Chaos?
You, Bob. I don't know. It'd be really confusing if you.
I'm so confused.
There's already dueling Roberts, so.
Yeah, I think we should both go by Bob, and then only invite people on named Bob.
Yeah.
So we also brought on Bob from Actual Fandom. How you doing?
Yes.
I'm pretty good. By the way, I do like the idea of just going by Bob Chaos. That sounds pretty rad.
Bob Chaos.
You should try it out. Yeah, I'm doing all right, Bob.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on, Bob Chaos. What a great last name. But we do have a great podcast. One might say the greatest podcast in the history of all
Look at you wearing a Shield t-shirt, Bob.
Yeah.
That's actually.
But
I have no doubt. There's not even that many podcasts, so it's not even hard to be the best one, right?
No.
Especially
they're
ones
not
that
shit ton.
ever have zero technical issues.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. We never have a technical issue. We didn't have to re-record the first couple minutes of the last one at all.
No.
It was perfect. I'm not watching these audio levels like a hawk to make sure they're kosher right now. But yes, no technical issues, so yay. But we're going to talk to, I guess his name's Dane. Although I'm gonna have to talk to our producer about inviting people not named Bob onto the podcast. This might be an issue.
Yeah.
I think Dane is French for Bob, so.
Oh.
Same thing.
Okay. He's not fired then, which is probably good because I don't want to fire myself. But
Let me check Prager.
But
right.
After we talk to Actual Fandom, we're going to go ahead and move on and talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Yes.
Pandorum, a sci-fi movie that I have not seen until a couple hours ago.
Same.
And
until about early this morning.
Yeah, I'm interested in what you guys thought of it for sure.
Yeah, no, I was gonna watch it last night, and then I was like, it's it got to 1 or something, and I was like, I don't want to put it on this late. I'm gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, that was the same for me. I binged Andor yesterday, and yeah, I wasn't about to start something that I started it, and I was like, this is giving me Aliens vibes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna watch this tomorrow morning. I'm not watching this at 1. I'm already tired.
Yeah.
I want to wake up and be like, what's going on?
Well, after Pandorum, we will talk about the last 4 episodes of Andor and kind of our thoughts on the series so far, which, according to Star Wars Theory, is the worst Star Wars series ever. So, he's always on top of it.
I have a theory, a Star Wars theory on that when we get to it. So,
yeah.
But, Dane, you run a little YouTube channel. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I do run a little YouTube channel. Coming up on 6,000 entire subscribers pretty soon. Oh, sorry, what?
No, just wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
By the way, if I ramble or I interrupt, please let me know because I'm still adjusting to not. As much as I've been streaming the last several months, I realize that I've gotten into the habit of just talking a lot, and so I sometimes struggle when I'm not leading the conversation.
It's all good. This is all freeform.
Cool.
Yeah.
So channel's called Actual Fandom. Just hit 3 years of making content in the end of October. And it's been pretty gratifying. A lot of ups and downs, some trials and tribulations and stuff, but overall, I value the community that I've built and being able to talk about the stuff that I talk about. And more than anything, the thing that keeps me motivated is the feedback I get from people who really seem to value it as well. But yeah, I tend to mostly discuss what I call the anti-fandom phenomenon. These types of grifters and propagandists, right-wing propagandists, typically that use fandoms for their whatever purpose it is. Maybe they're just trying to make money, and hate clicks are an easy way to do it, or they are legitimately hateful and are trying to propagate that, whatever their message is. And I'm sure in a lot of cases they're just one and the same. But yeah.
Oh, did you have something, Bobby?
No.
Okay. It looked like you were leaving.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got one.
Yeah, I know.
No. So like, what inspired you? Was it just looking at the culture, or was there something specific?
There, a little bit of both, because like I've been into comic book and like Star Wars fandom since as long as I can remember. Little kid, like I partly learned to read with comic books, and difficult childhood, a lot of turbulence, so to speak, for a long time. And the one thing that was always my constant was like fiction, good fiction, Marvel comics, DC comics to a lesser extent, but comics in general, and then like Star Wars, Star Trek, science fiction, horror, love all that shit. And that's the stuff that kind of kept me grounded and centered, and I learned lessons that I probably should have learned from my parents and stuff. I learned that stuff from comics and movies, and I feel like I owe a debt to it in a way, and so a few years ago, whenever I started seeing these types of takes about this stuff, about SJWs and forced diversity and things like that, I was like, what the fuck are they even talking about? Because it would be something in reference to a character that has existed for a while or whatever, like a female character, a black character, and now suddenly it's being called forced and a token, and I'm just like, what is this shit? And I've started looking into it, and that's seemingly at the same time, I kind of was following a handful of comic book creators, one of them being an artist for the Green Lantern comics at the time, named Ethan Van Sciver, who I think Bob.
I haven't.
You haven't met him? Like, I mean, dude, it's so weird to think about how I looked at him back then, versus what I saw him become. And yeah, so just over the years, I saw him devolve. Like every once in a while on Facebook or something, he would post something that was pretty cringe in a way, is in like telling somebody to kill themselves that he disagreed with politically, or posting kind of racist memes or whatever, and then people would call him out, and he'd be like, "Okay, I apologize, I shouldn't do that," blah blah blah, and he'd seemingly sincerely, realize he fucked up, and it wouldn't take long, and he would just do it again. But it seemed like each time it was, more aggressively shitty. And I just watched that happen over and over again. And then I would hear statements that he made on his podcast and stuff. And I was just like, man, this guy's kind of a piece of shit.
Fuck him.
So it just, he kind of became, at that point, he was the personification of this phenomenon that I saw. And so when I started my channel, I'd actually been wanting to do it for over a year. I was like, man, I wish that I could, start a YouTube channel, and I don't see a lot of people that are pushing back against this the way that I think is more effective. You got your, nothing against them specifically, but there's a lot of people who were making themselves easy targets. The few people that would push back, basically they were the stereotypes of what him and his ilk would consider a lefty or progressive, and good for them. I just feel like I was looking at it from a pragmatic perspective. Like I need to be, because I'm a dude who comes across like a regular dude, and I didn't really see that going on. You know what I mean? So I was like, I can fill that role. I'm not coming on there trying to score woke points. I can do it from the perspective of I know the lore, I know the industries. The only thing I didn't have was the ability to like talk on camera or public speak or anything like that. Never been good at that stuff. But yeah, eventually I just said, fuck it, I need to do it, and started doing it. So yeah, and it got more attention pretty quickly than I expected. You know, which is good. But at the same time, started getting a lot of backlash immediately from Ethan. In fact, like the first time that I covered him when I had a few hundred subs, he watched my video on his stream that night that I released the video. And this guy's got, what, hundreds of thousands of subscribers, you know? So that kind of stood out to me as like, oh, maybe I can, you know, I don't care what he says about me. Like, whatever the stuff that I know about that guy, whatever his judgment of me is like, literally has no impact on me, except that he's responding at all, which told me maybe I'm doing something right here. And so I kept at it. 3 years later, learned a lot, and I feel like I've grown a bit doing it.
Yeah.
Sorry. What do you?
I was just gonna add. I just thought it was interesting because I feel like he likes to do that a lot. Whenever somebody just makes anything on him, he likes to respond. And I noticed he didn't respond when I did like a well scripted editorial on Comicsgate, but when I just do an off the cuff reaction video, he'll jump on that one. And one of the things that made me think maybe I'm doing the right thing was when I actually watched his reaction to, because it's the first time I'd seen somebody do a reaction to one of my videos. And I realized he's not engaging with the points, or he's misrepresenting them. And it's like, wow. If anything, this is kind of proving me right, but of course his audience isn't going to see that.
No. Yeah, that's the thing is, that's another reason why, you know, I would get people messaging me, say, hey, have you seen Ethan? He's responding to you. I'm like, I don't care. Mm-hmm. You know, like, because that's what he wants. That I had a few hard rules that I'd established for myself before I ever made a video. One of them was never engage on their terms, especially him. But like, just in general, these types of people, I'd seen the patterns. They want to be in control of the environment. They want to be in control of the conversation. So even if they're doing the let's have a debate and friendly conversation about this kind of tactic, which they love to do, they're not really trying to do that. You know what I mean? Like, especially as you know with Ethan, he's just wanting to use you as this is an opportunity for me to show my audience the woke SJW menace, and they're trying to stop us from making our frog comic or whatever. And that way he can yell at you, or he can use all the cliches. He can put you up as the epitome of everything wrong with woke culture or whatever. And his audience just eats that shit up because they're not engaging with ideas. They're engaging, you know, with tribalism and, you know, kind of fucking warped ideology. And so, yeah, that's one of the things that I'd established for myself, and I try to encourage other people to do unless they really know what they're getting into. You know, like don't engage and in their terms. And that's one of the reasons I think he fucking hates me, because I've covered him several times, and he's tried to get me to come on. He's tried to come onto my stream before. You know, he's come at me on Twitter, and every time I'm just like, I either just don't respond, or else I'll, you know, say something that cuts through his noise. You know what I mean? And like when I did that on Twitter once, he just blocked me because I think he realized I can't have my audience seeing this shit. You know what I mean? Because I'm not getting upset by what he's saying about me or anything. I'm just like, oh yeah, here's some facts. And yeah. So, and then of course he blocked me. That was like 2 years ago. And then cut to a year later, I mentioned him again or something, and then he unblocked me to call me a pussy coward or whatever because I wouldn't engage with them or something, like, you know, because I'd blocked him on my YouTube channel. And I was like, dude, here's this screenshot of where you blocked me, and you're gonna fucking act like this. I'm like, fuck you, man. You know, so it's just,
he calls you that, and after he blocks you,
it's okay. Dude, like I say, if they didn't have double standards, if he didn't have double standards, he'd have no standards at all. It's
Christ.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's all.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys either don't engage or they act like children, or they.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was trying to explain to a friend, kind of what the difference is between, because well-meaning people who are against this stuff too will say to me sometimes, well, like, no, you got to hear them out. You got to blah, blah. And I'm like, you really don't, not on their terms, because the thing is, they're not playing the same game we are. Like, if you're like a decent person who cares about people and who cares about at least facts and stuff like that, they believe that the ends justify the means. So any ethical concerns that you or I might have about what we do in our content, our daily life, and how we approach things, I imagine we try to be consistent about those, right? No, all these guys care about is the end result, which is they want whatever language you want to use about it. They want SJWs, wokeness, the left, whatever. They want it gone. They want it out. They want to dominate these industries and this culture, these fandoms, and that's all that matters to them. And it's just kind of a sad fact of it, but that's like the fundamental difference, the divide, I believe.
Yeah, I do believe I screwed up his idea when I refused not to simulcast, and I know his fans are still coming at me. Why didn't you stop the simulcast? It won't have ended the technical issues sooner. It's like, because I didn't want him to have complete control of the conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
Dude, that was
obviously.
smart as hell. Smart as hell. Good job.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Well,
I'm happy you didn't do that too, Bob. Like, I was.
no, every time they do that,
I was
I'm like,
watching
yeah,
it,
no,
and when you
I
said that,
have
I'm
a
like,
right
don't
to do
know.
that. It's
Yeah,
not
like,
I mean,
no.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
How many times, at least twice that I know of, you fucking just busted his ass for being a lying piece of shit, like right there in front of everybody. There was you had shorts for at least two of them.
Yeah, I
that
made
know
two
of.
shorts. Like, there were two moments that just really stood out. I was like, ooh.
Perfect moments, man.
I got to swap a battery.
Like, you made, dude, like a true investigative journalist. You were like, so you've never said that, huh? You've never said.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I already had clips of him not saying it, but I was like, okay, let's get this on the record before we dive into this next piece.
That was beautiful, by the way.
Yep.
I
got to take some credit for the assist.
Yeah.
No. Well, both of you guys, I really want to give you guys credit for the first one you hosted with Jim the racist and his crony.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, a shitty fucking outcome of it, and for it to have to be. But I mean
I don't know.
guys, you guys handled it a lot better. I would have just booted him from the conversation at that moment.
I was still learning Discord, so I wasn't confident on how to boot people yet.
Yeah.
Now I am.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
The thing is, I think it went the way it went, and obviously the whole thing was unfortunate, at least in that him saying that. But at the same time, I'm a pragmatist, and the dude is not making content right now. And whether or not he comes back to it and he changes the way he's actually reflecting or not, no matter what, we reduced his shitty ideas being out there in the world by a little bit, at least. You
showcased it and you made him expose himself, and I did consider, by the way, that it might not just have been the word that caused him to, because when you think about this dude was shit-faced for a debate, he might have something else that he's working on. You know what I mean? So
yeah. No, I'm hoping he takes the opportunity and grows from that and learns from it. I hope he comes back as a better person, and I hope he returns better person, does more content. I am satisfied with that. That is the best I hope for.
People act like we just want to cancel everybody or whatever, and like no, man, I used to be kind of a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like, I have to believe in the ability of people to grow themselves and to learn from shit and like be better people, or I'm a piece of shit. You know what I mean? I grew up in a culture that in the deep South, where all I was surrounded by was that kind of logic. Like, basically, I feel like I would probably have become not much different from Jim if not for things like X-Men and Star Trek and stuff that were like giving me these lessons, that I wasn't getting culturally or in my family, about, oh wait, mutants are like, oh, they're like black people or something. I get it. You know what I mean? And Star Trek and every other episode is about something about racism or something like that. Yeah. And so that's one of the reasons I value that stuff. And that's one of the reasons that I know that these things have always existed in this media, that they're acting suddenly like, oh, it's woke now. They're forcing this. It's like, hold on, man. No. And that's why, not only would I love to be able to debate more, but people don't want to. Mm-hmm. What I really would love to do is like host a kind of just lore quiz type thing and just like come onto my channel and let's see who knows what. And you tell me why you think that this is woke and it wasn't woke before or whatever, because I think I'd have that on lock too.
I think I'd probably beat most of these guys, and more than
you can make it like a game show.
I'd love to. Like a game show like that would be amazing. But yeah, I think you're right, Bob. I think most people that pay attention, because it really is, I think it is just this kind of programming that has grabbed hold of certain people that makes them view everything through this lens of wokeness or whatever. And I, just put that video out today that I believe is probably one of my most, just the best arguments and like dismantling of that kind of logic, because we looked at several points of people describing wokeness and it really, they just show themselves to be incoherent, inconsistent, and it's a completely meaningless criticism essentially.
No, woke, like if you ask these people to define woke, I find two things. Either they have a pretty much just they just sputter out and they can't come up with anything, like, oh, you have to see it. Or it's just word salad, pretty much. It's like, what? Yep.
Or it's just describing something that has always existed, and then you point that out to them, and that's when they have to go, well, no, that's different because, and it's like, it's not really different. It's only different because it existed. You knew it existed before your fucking brain was reprogrammed. Mm-hmm. And like Top Gun Maverick, they're saying isn't woke, and it's like because it's got the same politics that the original did that you grew up with. If every movie that came out had the same politics as the 80s, and you're a 40-year-old guy, then it's going to seem like the norm to you because it's not evolving with the culture as art should do.
But I kind of like the people. Well, I don't like anything most of those types have to say, especially the ones how say unwoke the new Top Gun is. But I will say this about that, and I always kind of like to just play devil's advocate with it, really. I don't remember any women pilots in the first. I remember the instructor, but not pilots.
Well, that's because it was a gay movie.
Yeah.
It was. There was definitely overtones to that weren't too subtle.
And a lot of them don't like to admit that.
No, we rewatched it not that long ago for the podcast, and freaking
Maverick, we had the discussion before we recorded it. It was like, I totally picked up on all that this time. I was like, it's like right there.
Maverick and Iceman have way more chemistry than Kelly McGillis and Maverick. It's not even close. It's not. Yep. But where can people find you at, Dane? Yeah.
Oh, you can, find me all kinds of places, preferably not on Twitter unless you want to dislike me a little bit. So on YouTube, it's youtube.com/Actual Fandom, or they have the handles now. So it's like just at Actual Fandom, as well as a secondary channel that is a shared channel among me and a couple of guys. One of them being Bob Chaos here. And then Turf Nation, the Fandom Initiative. It's a relatively new but promising venture. So that's at Fandom Initiative. Yeah.
All right, and I will say go ahead and track him down on Twitter. He has excellent memes he makes. That's how I discovered him. So
yeah, he is pretty hilarious on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I think you're all talking about two different things there. Bob's talking about the infographics I make, but I do appreciate that you enjoy my memes. So
yeah.
Well, I think it's quite funny how you own them with those graphics. So
it's pretty fun. I enjoy it, and it, I've got this fucking neurodivergent kind of encyclopedic knowledge of this crap that I've been told in my life was useless information, about fandom and stuff, and putting it to use now. So, also I keep forgetting this. I have a website. It's actualfandom.com. You can find several links and things about me and videos and stuff there.
Awesome. You guys ready for the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special? All right, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Yes.
Yeah, this just came out. Was it Thursday or Friday or
Friday?
It came out recently. Yeah.
Yeah.
I personally enjoyed the hell out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to see the Guardians. How long has it been since we've? I guess Endgame.
Endgame, yeah.
Was last time we saw him. Yeah.
Barely end game though, right? Like,
yeah. Well,
pretty much
Rocket gets some time.
and-
Yeah. Rocket and Nebula get some time in.
Well,
there.
like everyone got their reunions, like Quill and that timeline or that point in time, Gamora, yeah.
Of course,
with,
on Braveheart, it was Love and Thunder.
Current Nebula. Oh yeah, and then yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I totally.
That was more just like almost a glorified cameo, though. We really didn't get a whole lot of like their interactions and those Guardians vibes kind of thing.
No.
A little bit disappointing. I did kind of hope for like a Guardians movie with Thor or something like that, but yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
But yes, this was a fun Christmas special.
Yeah, it was.
Drax and Mantis decide to get Peter the ultimate Christmas present, which is of course the actor Kevin Bacon. I mean, guys, how often have you wanted Kevin Bacon for Christmas?
Oh, how many years have I lived? You know, like
I've more wanted Swayze, but that preferences.
Yeah,
no, that's what I love about James Gunn and Guardians is that, like that was just like a almost not a throwaway, but it was kind of a joke in the first movie, right?
Yeah,
it's like,
it was.
James Gunn is that kind of filmmaker who like, no, that's a key defining thing of this character, and then he's going to expand on that to show how much these characters love him and make a fucking Christmas special about it. It's love it.
Yeah, no, I know when they first announced the very idea of doing just a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, and I've seen the Star Wars holiday special. That
was my immediate thought.
Not thrill me. But I was like,
I immediately thought, oh god, it's going to be a Life Day
James
too.
Gunn's involved.
Oh.
Yeah, I have a hot take about Christmas specials. I fucking hate them. I don't
general, yeah.
I don't like Christmas. I don't like Christmas, to be honest. Like in a similar sentiment as, well, I guess not the same as Star-Lord, but like, my Christmases growing up kind of sucked. They are generally associated with, in my memory, as like, disappointment, frustration at best. And so for a long time, I just like kind of fucking Christmas, and I would hate hearing Christmas music and stuff like that. I still kind of do. And then Christmas specials. Anytime my favorite show would come out that has a Christmas special, I'm like, oh god damn it. That being said, this made me smile and laugh and actually get a little misty eyed. So good job.
No, yeah. In case people are wondering, most of this thing is just goofy. Pretty much most of the Kevin Bacon stuff is just goofy ridiculousness with Mantis and Drax essentially kidnapping him. But like it wraps around towards the end, because the reason why Mantis is involved is because like she is Peter's brother, or she's Peter's sister, and she wants to give him something special for Christmas, and he doesn't even know he has a sister, and that's kind of the impetus of this whole thing.
Have they hinted at that prior to this at all?
I thought it was said in the Guardians 2, but maybe it was a deleted scene because I remember there being some sort of line about like her being one of the more successful of his children.
Yeah,
like he saw use of her.
Yeah, I guess they never really did specify how he came about having Mantis ego. You know what I mean? So like, how did they come together? And it kind of makes sense. I mean, especially since the whole plot was about him just spreading his seed all over the galaxy.
Yeah, for sure. Now I'm trying to remember if that was in the movie proper or if that was just some sort of deleted scene that I'd gone through.
Yeah, I can't remember if they ever mentioned how, like, their paths crossed or anything.
I'm pretty sure it's at least a deleted scene, though, which I guess is technically not canon, but I guess it is canon now. But yes, this is... Oh,
sorry.
No, it's all good. No, this is just a really nice little Christmas special. Like I said, not all holiday specials are good. Most of them are quite bad. But like this This is fun. I'll probably show it to my kids when they come over this weekend. My son probably won't watch it, but my eldest will probably get into it. But yeah,
I think I'm definitely gonna watch it with my kid. They just recently got into Marvel movies, and Guardians is their favorite. So it's like,
no,
When?
the Guardians ones are great. And like when I had to like actually sit down and research, like when I first watched the second one, I wasn't thrilled with it. When I actually had to sit down and research it and like dive into it and go into themes and stuff like that, that's when I went, oh, this is actually one of the best ones, isn't it?
Yeah.
it grows on you. Yeah, it's a little like, the first one is just such a perfectly paced movie. I feel like that, all the jokes, the humor, the action, everything is just perfectly balanced throughout the first one. The second one takes a different approach where it's like there's a big chunk in the middle that doesn't really have much tension or drama or anything like that, and it's just like hanging out with the Guardians kind of thing, but they're also separate from each other for a lot of the movies. So I remember the first time like, that's kind of weird. It's not the vibe I was expecting, but then the more I've watched it, the more I'm like, man, this is a beautiful movie, honestly.
Yeah, when it all comes together, it's like, this is nice. But yeah, this is a fun one. I think Kevin Bacon is the first person to play a substantial role in the MCU as himself. So, hey.
I mean, other than Stan. Well, no, that always wasn't Stan in the cameos. So,
or was it?
Hey, what about
could have just had
Elon Musk
jobs.
in Iron Man 2?
Fuck.
Oh, that's right. He was in that.
Yeah, that was so cringe. It's even more cringe now.
Remember back then when everybody was like, oh, he's a smart guy.
Yeah, that was a joke. It was like, he's the new Iron Man. Oh, let's get him in Iron Man 2. Even back then, it was a little cringe. Yeah.
He still thinks of himself that way, I think. So
yeah. I'm glad.
Man drinks caffeine-free Diet Coke. I mean, it's...
Oh, yeah, I know. That was the dumbest fucking picture he tweeted.
That's my one takeaway from that picture.
The picture he tweeted where it's like, here's my night-side stand. It's like a gun and then like a picture of a gun and then Diet caffeine-free Coke or something.
Yeah, and there's like what looks like a decorative musket and a picture of Washington crossing the Delaware.
Yeah, it's like...
So he's pandering.
Yeah,
is what that is.
Yeah, he's pandering.
I'm looking at it going, okay,
Diet Coke.
If that is it, then that's a bit cringe. But that's not it. That's
oh, he definitely is.
But yes, God, Elon Musk. Even in his brief, couple second role in Iron Man 2, he was awful. He's a terrible actor. I think that needs to be established more to get him.
He chews more scenery than George C. Scott.
Dude, George C. Scott,
terrible actor, terrible human being. Apparently,
yeah, too.
Terrible businessman.
Person. Yeah,
for sure.
What are you talking about? Yeah. He made his billions through hard work and a healthy loan from his very rich father.
Let's not talk about how his dad got that money either.
Apartheid emeralds, but that's another podcast.
Yeah,
that's a whole other crate of worms right there.
Well. Speaking of bloody things, do you guys ready for Pandorum?
Nice lead-in.
Yeah. I work on those segues. It takes time. Science.
So I'll start off with saying I'll admit when you first suggested this in the Discord chat, you had said it pays very close to it wears it on its sleeve to the ones that it's truly giving homage to in this, and Aliens, which I'm like, okay, cool, I've seen that and I love the franchise. Event Horizon, I always go, man, is that the one that I keep forgetting or mistaking for something else? Watch the trailer, that is the one. So I haven't seen that, so I don't know what exactly it pulled from that, but that is definitely one that's on my watch list. But this was very good. I definitely get where you were saying it, the Alien vibes, because I'd say the whole first half of this movie, I'm like, yeah, they loved Aliens.
Yeah,
director,
they don't even hide it. They're just
they grew up watching Aliens a lot.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. I'd seen it years ago. It was just kind of like I said, I'm a huge sci-fi fan, so I'll give pretty much any sci-fi thing that looks halfway decent a shot. And I remember seeing the trailer and that actually looks pretty cool. I watched it and and same experience. Like, wow, this really reminds me of Alien and a little bit Event Horizon vibes. And it's been a while since I've seen it. There's probably other things that pop out too. But that it's also just got its own kind of unique, specific plot going on. That and it's campy to a degree. The performances are fun. And Ben Foster's always awesome to watch.
Oh no, Ben.
Yeah, he's really good.
I don't think I've seen him in a while. I think the last time I saw Ben Foster was the movie he did with Chris Pine and Jeff Bridges. And
Hell or High Water.
Hell or High Water. Yes, that movie was great. Yeah, he's a great actor, and I don't think I've ever seen him give a bad performance, even in X-Men Last Stand in his couple minutes in that movie. He was solid.
Yeah, I expected more of him. I mean, I guess in terms of his career back then, I was like, man, this guy's he's going places. And I'm sure he did too. But this movie does seem like that might have been their first attempt. All right, let's put this guy as the action lead. Yeah. Right. And I think he worked pretty well. What did you think of it, Bob?
I have mixed feelings. I love the setup. Like the whole, they're launched off into space, and then you just have this guy waking up in it's this cryo chamber, and he's like, what the fuck's going on? I love that setup. Like the mystery of let's solve what's going on here. And then of course you get Dennis Quaid, who, of course you need a supporting character from bounce off of. And of course that role changes throughout the movie. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know exactly if I have any strong feelings towards it. There's stuff I like and stuff reaction, I'm a bit more. I think I have to digest it more. But
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just yeah. Yeah, it's a very interesting movie. I love the setup. I love how it's done. I will say I felt the action sometimes was cut a bit too fast to keep up properly. Sometimes it was fine though. I remember when we get to the last essentially the third act, I don't recall the action really bugging me there. It's just the early stuff kind of bugged me.
Yeah, the way
I think it's an interesting movie.
Well, how they kept the other creatures are the all pasty creatures, I guess. How they kept them hidden and in the dark through most of it. That was done, but sometimes I kind of felt like, okay, I feel like I'm staring at a black screen at some of it. Like it wasn't but it didn't help with the atmosphere in it, and that didn't really seem to bother me as it was less and less. But I mean, my negative things were minor on it. But I do get what you're saying, though, Bob.
Yeah, you're absolutely, and that's completely valid to feel that way about it, because I know that, like I said, I'm willing to forgive a sci-fi movie that takes some chances, even if it doesn't quite pull it off. And that's the thing is, it definitely tried to do a certain thing, and for the most part, I feel like it pulled it off. But then, it's like I told you, I was like, I'm not going to call this a masterpiece. It's just kind of a fun, schlocky, kind of a gem of a sci-fi.
Yeah, no, I think that might also be why I have to digest it a bit more, because I feel like what it is I feel like the beginning sets it up to be the beginning I think is so goddamn strong in this movie. I love it. I'm thrown in almost instantly. I want to know what's going on with this guy. I want to know what's going on with this ship. And then I feel like it goes into schlocky stuff, which is actually decently done, but it's not quite the movie I felt like I was getting at the beginning. And I think that just threw me off because it's not poorly done. Yeah. I will say the Dennis Quaid going insane. I guess spoilers. I like how they do that with the separate ship mate showing up.
Mm-hmm.
I like how that's done. I like how you see him put him in the containment unit, but he's not willing to launch it. And it's all when you look at it from that's just his insanity essentially. It's all very symbolic, and I love how they handle that aspect of it. It's pretty cool in my opinion.
That's the kind of stuff about it that makes me forgive especially like you guys said, that the action, there were parts where it's this is just annoying the way you're cutting this, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And some of the shots were a little jarring and stuff like that. But at the same time, the stuff I love about it is why I recommend it to people is that part of it is
mm-hmm.
clever. The twist of Dennis Quaid's character and stuff. But then also the thing that always I think of first with this movie is the ending. Just being, kind of first Planet of the Apes ending level of like, oh shit, you know what I mean? Like where you realize this is what's going on, and that's the big spoiler, I feel like. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that ending.
Oh, well, for me, this movie, it's like I love the setup, and I actually really like the ending. Spoiler,
I enjoyed the ending.
This actually has a happy ending for the most part. I mean, not everybody makes it, but like, yeah. I was actually kind of surprised. I am used to stuff more like Sunshine and Event Horizon, where it just feels like it's done, it's over, and like here, it's like, oh,
yeah. Compare it to Planet of the Apes, not because it's like tragic the way that Apes is, but in the sense of like the context you think you've been watching the movie in is not the context, and then you find out right at the end that like, oh, okay, that they've been. What is it, like hundreds of thousands of years they've been under the ocean on this planet or something like that? It's fucking crazy.
When it's first revealed that they've been, in hibernation for however the fuck long. And you turn on, the lights outside and there's no stars. It's like, fuck, how far out are they? And it's like, oh shit, they're under the ocean. They're exactly where they're supposed to be, pretty much.
Yeah, the whole time we're thinking that they're still, mid-flight to
marooned.
This world or whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was just cool reveal and actually a surprisingly pleasant ending. Sorry.
Yeah, I did enjoy that, as well as the ending. I was like, well, that's a change for a sci-fi flick, and I'm
especially
okay
a sci-fi
that.
horror.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And the other twist too is the I guess not twist, but like reveal is what those creatures actually are. I thought that was pretty cool too. The clever way that they make them out to be these kind of alien things. Like, what the fuck are these things? They're all over the ship, and they're savage and everything. And then it's like, oh, they're actually the people that were in the cryo tubes or whatever, and they just have evolved over time to adapt to the ship, and they've become this whole almost like
they're reavers.
Cool.
Yeah, they pretty much were.
I think I need to digest it, but yeah, I think I like this, and I'm always welcome to a new sci-fi movie. That's why, like, I think you brought up this in Sunshine, and I was like, I'm gonna go with the one I haven't seen. But yeah, this is a good pick. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I feel like I should have more to add. But anything you guys want to add, or are we ready for Andor?
Yeah, let's talk about Andor.
Okay.
Andor what?
Andor. Okay, yeah, the worst Star Wars series ever. I hated this so much. This is like the worst ever. Like, it dealt with like politics and like thinking about stuff, which I hate. I'm against thinking about stuff. It dealt with like, people on the ground fighting for their lives. I mean, who is this shit? And there wasn't any space magic. This is like the worst Star Wars since The Last Jedi. Easy.
Here's my thing. Like, I love the acting. I love the setting. I love the look of it. I love the music. I love just the plot. I love the characters. I love all of it, but it's boring. Sorry, that was actually a take I saw someone with. I think it was I don't remember the channel name, but they're like, go on for like 5 minutes about how they love every aspect of it, and then they're like, but it's just boring. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man?
What does that mean? How can you love everything about it, but it's boring?
That comes off to me like, you need a negative take for anybody to even watch, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'll just make it clear right now. I'm being sarcastic. This is the most I've liked Star Wars since The Last Jedi, actually.
Same.
This is I love this. I love that there's no Force. I love there's no Jedi. I love these are people on the ground fighting for their rights, for their lives.
I'm actually enjoying all of the stuff with the Senate and everything there. I'm loving all of that about this show. Like, we're getting more of that.
Politics Mon Mothma has to do.
Yeah, I'm loving the politics aspect of it, actually.
Oh man.
Yeah, seeing her, like work from, being part of the system and undermining the Empire and stuff, especially where we know she ends up. It's cool to, see that play out and actually have some context for who the hell Mon Mothma is.
No, I love other channels like talk about Mon Mothma like she was like some sort of big character in Star Wars canon, where like maybe in the books, but like in movies and stuff, not really. Not until this series, thankfully.
she's a central character, but like from what I remember prior to the prequels, it was like you latched on to any figure, even if they're only on screen for like a minute total. You just learned everything about that character that you could. At least my brothers and I. Yep.
Yeah,
that's
Boba
the
Fett
prime
was
example of like.
exactly
He didn't even really play much of a role, especially compared to Mon Mothma, but dude was cool looking. So
well, he did kind of go out like a chump, though.
I
That's
always
the one
say-
thing that everyone forgets.
I always say Fets die like bitches. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Boba Fett, the show actually kind of killed that for me. So
Yeah, it kind of did, because he was kind of a bit of a Billy Badass in that one.
and that's fine. But just for the longest time after Jango Fett, just like, I'm gonna get you, Mace Windu, and then slice his head down. It's like, all right, man, you guys suck. You guys need to stop doing this.
You guys
your
are
whole
just-
family is terrible.
Yeah, you're
Well,
just
you see that and you
overblown.
go like, and that's why the stormtroopers can't hit shit.
Yeah.
Yep. It makes sense.
So much sense.
Yeah, you can see
Well,
on
that
his
and-
gun, his,
that and
his
the
side
helmets.
is wobbly.
That and the helmets, yeah, they're too big. You see, they don't have money to make new ones, so they pull them from the dead ones and just reissue them.
Oh God. Now we're gonna make guns, but the sight's is gonna be a couple inches off. Is that a big deal? That should work fine. That should work fine.
My helmet's too big.
Well-
Just tape it.
Speaking of which, this show Andor did quite a bit to rehabilitate the stormtrooper, right? Like they were literally killing some people. It was pretty harrowing.
These guys can hit some things. They're deadly accurate.
When the plot calls for it, apparently they can really do it.
Yeah, and commanding Empire officer or Imperial officers can suddenly not be as daring. They can be cowards.
Well,
that's one of the. Sorry,
go ahead, Dane.
I was just going to say that's one of the things that I love about it is that it shows the inner workings of the Empire and how, authoritarian regimes often fail. Is they promote the ass kissers instead of the ones who were like thinking, the long game and like pragmatically and stuff like that, which is what we, saw with what was her name, Reese something. I forget her name.
I dig it up here.
The one intelligence officer that we follow a lot, and like she's putting in the work and doing pretty decent job of analyzing the situation and stuff, and yet they're kind of at first sidelining her to listen to these ass kissers, and just that kind of thing. Those types of details is what I really latched onto because it felt like a show for Deidre. It was like a Star Wars show for adults instead of like playing on. Mando, for example, that one plays a lot on your kind of nostalgia for being that fun part of the childhood of Star Wars. You know what I mean? And this one just fully embraces like, okay, but what if it was like, what if we put the more mature themes, the adult version of this, right? Not adult like pornography, but that'd be cool too.
They got that too. Don't worry.
It exists.
It exists,
It already exists. I promise.
But I mean, just kind of grim, dire circumstances where it's like, no, this is a fucking fascist empire, and it would suck to live in it.
Yeah, I mean, with the characters in this show, I mean, it sets up a nice group of characters, and like at the end, I wasn't sure who was going to make it out for sure. And I was actually like, I wanted them to get out. I think one of the things this series did for me that I wasn't expecting, because when I heard about this series, I was like, oh, okay, they're doing a Cassian Andor series. Possibly the character I was least interested in Rogue One. But
Same.
you know what? If K2SO comes in, I'm game. Because K2SO was one of my favorites from Rogue One, and he worked with Andor. And he's not even in this season. And I loved it.
I thought he was going to be for a second because you see a couple of those guys.
They're
and I was
building
like, oh, no.
those
They
droids.
tease
Yeah,
it,
I was
right?
like, he has to be.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it explains that, like, it definitely sets it up because it means as soon as he comes across an opportunity, he's going to be able to reprogram one, right? Because he fucking worked on them now. He knows what they're all about. So, yeah, I mean, it's really, really smart show. Well done. I appreciate that it took, risks of, like, how many episodes did we spend in the prison?
I want to say that was
saw
a 4-episode arc, I think.
I saw some people complaining about it, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I think it's going to pay off. I hope it is, and it did. Dude, since The Last Jedi ended, I have not had this moment. You know, I watched Mando, I watched Boba Fett, and I'm like, yeah, these are fun.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Boba Fett's fine. I do like Mando a lot, but like, yeah, it's not this level. And
it didn't recapture that core that I've, you know, always connected with Star Wars until this one. In the moment, the end of like maybe it was episode 7 or 8 or something, when he's been trying to convince, forget his name, Andy Serkis, trying to convince him like we can get the fuck out of here, and he's like, no, just, you know, mind your P's and Q's. And then finally, he realizes, Serkis' character realizes like, oh no, they're not letting us leave here, and you know, at best, and they might actually just kill us because they want to. And that moment at the end where he's like, all right, let's get this fucking thing going. Let's get out of here.
mm-hmm.
I was like welling up with excitement for the first time since The Last Jedi, basically, in a way that, you know, I thought was honestly not possible for me anymore with Star Wars. So
yeah, I want to say Andy Serkis is Kino, I believe was his character.
sounds right.
No, his name is Snope.
Yeah, Snoke. Yeah. God, I love his character in this, because like when Andor comes in, he's just the guy who's keeping things running. He's like the guy who's going to keep as a well-ordered machine. Hey, do your time, and then we'll get out of here. We just got to do our time and get out of here. And he's treating it like they're treating him fairly, even though like Andor,
the model prisoner.
Yeah, even though Andor's like supposed to like what his original sentence was supposed to be like 6 months, and it got changed to 6 years or something like that. So it's obviously they're not playing fair, but Kino's like, yeah, they're good. We just do our time, we'll get out here. It'll be okay. And then you just see the slow realization of, oh, they're just either going to add time or just kill us. And like, yeah, his arc is fantastic in this. And you get lots of character arcs throughout this. Like Andor's is like the most obvious, of course. He goes from pretty much just being a mercenary, just looking for his sister, to someone who honestly like wants to help out. We haven't even brought up Luthen, Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh yeah.
Who?
Yeah, you see him.
Yeah.
You see him learn. You know, you learn why he becomes the guy that's willing to, spoiler alert, fucking sacrifice himself to even begin to have a hope to destroy the Death Star in Rogue One, right? Like, you see this guy grow from like basically he doesn't care. This, you know, the Empire's going to do what they're going to do. I'm just trying to survive and find my sister, kind of thing. And then just bit by bit, it hits him like, oh shit, this is serious, and I actually.
Did you guys see the mid-credit scene?
No.
Yeah, I didn't know it until I was told later. So I guess it's not a huge spoiler. It's a brief mid-credit scene, but we do see what they were building in the prison, and it was the Death Star.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that is also a big motivator. Imagine he's like literally
that is
like
a huge motivator. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice touch, because it's not like you need that, but like that's a nice touch. Because when they're in the prison, I was wondering like, what are those parts going to be for? What are they going to be for?
Yeah, I thought they were droids.
Yeah, I thought they were the droids.
Mm-hmm. Well, it might be involved too, but yeah. Wow. Yeah, no, it's just, I know we've spoiled quite a bit if you haven't seen it, but I'd say it's not the same as the experience. As I always stress in everything, just listening to people talk about is not the same as the experience of watching it, and I highly recommend
watch it for yourself and form your own opinion.
This is
absolutely
fantastic. Not enough people are talking about it. It's, in my opinion, the best Star Wars has been since Last Jedi, and if you didn't like The Last Jedi, then it's probably the best Star Wars has been since, I don't know, Return of the Jedi, maybe?
Yeah.
Out of the two properties that Disney has bought, and that, you know, the fandoms of each were very worried, you know, that being Star Wars and Marvel, I feel that this and this is just my own opinion, and Falcon and Winter Soldier, when it comes to their miniseries releases, are like the top tier of both. Like, my opinion with that, like Andor, it did something different. Mm-hmm. It went away from the norm, kind of like how Rogue One did. And it's standing on its own, and without needing, like you said, Bob, it didn't have any Force or any Jedi or Sith. It's Star Wars. It's Star Wars being told without what everyone associates Star Wars with.
No, it's the ground level stuff, which I love. It's like because like, we see all these Force users and the big players in Star Wars all the time, But here are the ground level guys. These are the guys who are getting shit on by the Empire. This is why the people are rising up against the Empire. And who could imagine a system so evil as to turn their prisoners into slaves? That is so evil. I mean, no system could ever do that. No.
That's why it's fiction, Bob.
Yeah.
Well, and what I left with Falcon and the Winter Soldier is, I mean, in reality, it's more of a story about two friends grieving with the loss of theirs.
Yep.
And them coming to terms with, life moving forward. Also, their friend just happens to be Captain America.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then there's also there's so many things about that show. You're gonna get me thinking talking about that, but like the stuff with the Black Super Soldier program and stuff, just like all that is fucking well done, super well executed,
and stuff that we had never seen in a Marvel property.
I would love a prequel series about the Black Super Soldier.
I would too.
Bradley. That sounds right.
I'd want, because I'm sure that there were more that the government tried.
I have a video about it because there is a comic book version of it that they base that loosely on, or there's Isaiah Bradley is the comic book version of the Black Super Soldier serum, and he essentially the same. He got the serum, him and several other black guys did, and they sent them on like covert missions because they didn't want to, back in the 50s or whatever, weren't going to put some black guys out front and center. And then they all got captured and killed or something except him, and then basically they just hid him away and locked him away for a long time so that he couldn't go public or anything. And it's like
tell the world.
It's fucked up. But yeah, no, I agree with you, Bobby. Like the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki are probably my favorite ones of Marvel, but as far as Falcon and Winter Soldier, that hits the same notes as like the Winter Soldier movie. It's one of the best, just in terms of like kind of socio-political commentary mixed in with your superhero business, and I'm all about that. So
while I enjoy Falcon and Winter Soldier, it doesn't seem like I'm as hot on it as you guys are. That being said, you guys are selling it pretty hard to me because there are lots of ideas in that series that I love.
There are.
You should watch my video. And then my friend Willow has a really good one too. But no, look, with Andor, the thing is too that this is going to enhance the other stuff, the Jedi stuff, the Force stuff, right? Because like you said, now we have more context in mind the next time we watch, even whether it's an older movie or the next one that has lightsabers and shit like that. Where it's there's more investment in the ground level stuff, and it's a more fully realized world.
Yeah, all I can say is that if you're like, oh, I don't want to see Andor, or I don't like Disney Star Wars, you're missing out. Because this is just such a good series. If you only watch one Star Wars series, right now it's this one, without doubt. I guess, do you guys have any final thoughts to wrap it up?
No.
Thanks for having me. This is fun.
Well, we haven't gone to quite that section yet. Now we're on that section. But yeah, anything you guys want to shout out before we close out?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I should do the self-masturbatory deal that you're supposed to do on these things. I'm trying to get better about it.
I'm terrible about it on my streams.
It takes practice, and still I suck at it. But yeah, my name is Dane. My YouTube channel is Actual Fandom. Help me get to 6,000 subscribers. We're like 45 away right now. And then also while you're over there, you can click on the Fandom Initiative channel that's linked on my YouTube and subscribe to that. We're almost at 1,000 already. Other than that, you can find my stuff, more digestible, easy to find stuff on actualfandom.com. You can follow me on Twitter at fandom _actual. And I got a podcast coming out in January. We've been recording episodes called Forced Adversity Podcast. And I'm really excited about it. It's a similar thing to what I do on my channel, except more of the long view. So the kind of look at history of examples of, reactionary responses to cultural stuff, right? Like the Comics Code or the Hays Code.
That sounds awesome. So, of course, subscribe to Organized Chaos, subscribe to Organized Chaos Podcast, subscribe to Bobby Quarters, subscribe to Actual Fandom, subscribe to Fandom Initiative. Do you have enough subscriptions in? I think that covers everything.
Turf Nation.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I
Turf
guess
Nation.
Turf. Even though he is
Gotta
pretty
shout
big
him out.
against mermaids, but
True.
fine.
Yeah, we really gotta have a talk with him.
But yes, subscribe to everyone I just mentioned. They're all awesome. But yeah, wait, what we have next week going on? Next week is, I usually have this pulled up. Oh yes, next week we'll be going over Violent Night and the original Willow, and then we don't have a third spot, so that'll probably be up to you, Bobby. But you don't have to tell me now.
Okay.
But
All
yeah,
right.
that's the plan for next week. Everyone, have a good one.
Take it easy.
They think order and chaos are somehow opposites and try to control what won't.
Do you enjoy pain?
Pain don't hurt.